Pym, who were leading Class N2 in a Toyota Corolla in another impressive performance. It was great fun for the spectators, and enjoying themselves in the thick of the action were Zimbabweans Hannes Kruger and Tony Rowley. A steady drive in the Castrol auto-equipped Toyota Corolla had taken them to the fringes of the overall top 10. Stay tuned. At the Paarl Service Park, it was business as usual in the Toyota camp. Now running first on the road, Serge Damso was quite happy with his lot.
Well, we've had a 20k stage plus a 9k so without changing, and the highway actually looks quite good, you know. So, and been running number 1 on the road, I must say it's quite a clear vision from all the dust we've had on this event, but enjoying it.
So Robert, what's the state of play?
At this moment, or just before the previous stage, we were leading Schalk by 1 minute 14. So at this time we can't slack down too much, but it will be quite difficult to catch Serge because he's leading us by just over 3 minutes at the moment.
With the pair now sitting on a full house of points in the FIA African Championship, Skalkberger and Martin Botha were also happy with their day's work.
Went very well so far, so we're on the road, the car's still lasting. We're battling a bit with the gearbox, but we're still there.
What's the problem with the gearbox?
We can't select third gear very easily, so we use first, second and fourth, but we just space it to get to the end.
Keeping track of special stage scores and running tallies keeps navigators busy at service points. The Uganda-Kenyan combination of Emmanuel Kato and Peter Stone were moving up the leaderboard and happy with their progress.
We've had a couple of really nice stages, you know, and we're really enjoying it now. I think we're more used to the conditions now, you know, and we're getting used to the way the car's handling under the conditions, you know, so we're enjoying ourselves.
And the pace notes, how are you finding them, Peter?
Okay, I'd just like to say Emmanuel missed one important point. At least we can see where we're going today. Yeah, we managed to do a lot of correction to the original pace notes, so it was nice to do this last one, which was on our notes. The first two were blind, but they seemed to work, and we were able to follow the tracks of the other cars. No, we had a good time. They call it doing it sideways. Yeah.
Over in the Subaru camp of former FIA African Rally champion Satwan Singh and co-driver Ntumbi Goma, the atmosphere was not as buoyant.
I understand you're having some drivetrain problems?
Yes, we lost third and fourth gear. So we're just nursing it to the end.
The international crews were finding the going a little tough. Namibians Rachat Himmel and Adolf Bottas were still running strongly, but had also run into minor problems in the ex-Damso car.
When the conditions are very rough, we are not used of that rough in Namibia, but that suits the 4x4. But we had a lot of problems. I think the wheel alignment on our car was out, and we suffered yesterday. But today they're going good, so we are very happy today.
A little alternative transport in the Overberg, with the area around Franschhoek again providing for some breathtaking scenery and some impressive monuments to the past. On the rally route, Hannes Grobler and Brian Duncan were focused on the present, and there was some bad news for the pair. A puncture had dramatically slowed their progress, with Grobler and Duncan trying to nurse the car through to the end of the special stage. Those in the huge crowd at a spectator vantage point who were hoping for some spectacular motoring from the pair were in for a disappointment. The team total Bridgestone Nissan Sentra was in no shape for heroics. But more important was the fact that Grobler and Duncan were dropping valuable time to those chasing after the pair. Among those doing the chasing were local crew Stefan van Dijk and Mark Pym in a Toyota Corolla. The pair were leading Class N2 in a great drive, and behind them there was another impressive performance from local lad Richard Berm and Ashley Gericka in the Palben auto-equipped Toyota Conquest. They'd moved up the pecking order in Class N2 and were involved in a little scrap with Adrian Karth and Rikus Fourie in a VW Golf. Although running well down the field, Karth and Fourie had a tight hold on Class A7, following the early Day 1 retirement of championship leaders Tony Ball and Martin Olivier. Firmly in the saddle in Class N1 were reigning champions Rodney Versace and Carolyn Swan in the team total Toyota Taz. Providing for some spectacular action were Doug Kemsley and Steve Grobler in the rear-wheel drive top car Fuchs BMW. But unfortunately for them, the pair were headed for retirement while running second in Class A8.
We were actually taking it easy. We were lying second in class, so we really had nothing in it
nothing to prove. We wanted a whole station, and the whole rear differential casing broke, and that put us out. No time to change it, and great pity because we only have 4 more stages left.
For the big-budget factory and well-sponsored privateer teams, rallying is a pleasure. For those operating on a shoestring budget, it's tough going, and promising young drivers often disappear from the scene through lack of finance. Making a welcome return to action was young Cape driver Richard Byrne.
A welcome return to competition.
Yes, it's been a good return. New car, as you can see. Spent a lot of long nights working hard on the car at home, and it's coming along nicely. I've just kept it in the middle of the road and keep a nice, even, steady pace, and it's paying off.
For Class A7 leaders Adrian Karth and Rickers Fourie, the Total Rally of South Africa was turning into a test of character. The route was rough in places, with the VW Golf being campaigned by the pair this season taking a beating. At the Grabouw Service Park, the VW Golf was showing definite signs of wear and tear.
We've encountered boulders the size of rugby balls in the stages. I think that's what's taken the guys out. But we've driven with the mind and not with force, and it's paying off in the long run. Although we've been having problems from day one with exhaust flanges breaking off and everything else going wrong, but we're hanging in there, going well.
Class N1 leaders Rodney Versaki and Carolyn Swan in the Team Total Toyota Taz had a handy lead over brothers Mike and Robin Houghton in that class. Under the circumstances, they were now quite happy to sit on their lead and were intent only on making it to the finish.
It's very sandy, everything's loose, and the big cars just throw rocks into the road and you're just dodging rocks all day long. That's all you're doing. And with the lead we've got now, we just want to keep the car in one piece and keep it together.
The Total Rally of South Africa was now into the home stretch, and firmly in the saddle were Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson in the dealer team Toyota Corolla. A little rally history was still in the making, with the local crew maintaining a 3-minute advantage over KwaZulu-Natal pair Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley in the Team Total Toyota Corolla. The Team Total pair were under a little pressure from Schalk Burger and Martin Botha, but with the Subaru Impreza running without third gear, Burger and Botha were more preoccupied with securing the 10 points up for grabs in the FIA African Rally Championship than they were had made progress throughout the day, only to fall foul of the scrutineers at the end of the event. They were excluded for running an oversized turbocharger, and among those to move up the pecking order in the final results were Barry Krobler and Mike Burrows, who were runaway Class A8 leaders. Van Dijk and Pim had Class N2 in the bag after an impressive drive, with Kobus Roos and Neil Fourie fighting back in the SALive.com Toyota Corolla to take second in class behind the Cape crew. Some budding rally stars of the future were out in force, with Class A7 leaders Adrian Karth and Rickers Fourie now coasting towards the finish. The VW Golf was sounding a little tired, but there was a huge gap between Karth and Fourie and the next Class A7 car, driven by veterans Spotty Woodhead and John Ogden. The Woodhead VW Golf was having its 99th national or regional championship outing, but the pair were now around half an hour behind the Karth Fourie entry. Veteran former SA champions Jeff Mortimer and Kerry Kerika were a solid third in Class N3 in a Sasol-backed Nissan Sentra, while Rodney Versaki and Carolyn Simmer were on their way to their second Class N1 win of the season in the Team Total Toyota Taz. Second in class, around 3 minutes behind the reigning champions, were brothers Mike and Robin Houghton in the Toy Toy Spares Toyota Taz. Driver Mike has finished every national rally he's entered, and co-driver Robin is better known as a multiple South African off-road champion. Table Mountain was shrouded in cloud when the final special stage of the Total Rally of South Africa got underway in the massive car park adjoining the Civic Centre. It was an emotional moment for Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson in the dealer team Toyota Corolla. They had just over a kilometre to complete to take their second successive Rally of South Africa win and become the first Class A6 crew to win a national rally. But for even the top champions, there's a slip between cup and lip, and the rally leaders lost a few seconds through a wrong slot. It was more embarrassing than it was costly. It was a little faux pas Damso and Hodgson could have done without, but there's nothing like winning a rally, making a little history, and going to the top of the South African Championship leaderboard to take away the pain. Crews are not overly fond of short parking lot special stages at the end of a rally. A little error like hitting a curb can cost a team a rally or class win, but the spectator stages pull in the crowds. It's all part of South African rallying's policy of taking the sport to the people, and parking lot special stages provide additional exposure for sponsors. It was all good, clean fun, with crews rising to the occasion to provide the huge crowd with some spectacular and noisy entertainment. Apart from the odd wrong slot and a missed gear here and there, the Civic Centre's special stage didn't provide for any real drama until Zimbabweans Abe Smith and Pete Marsh came on the scene. Within metres of the finish, their diesel Sassel VW Golf cried enough, and the car had to be pushed into the final control point. To the victors go the spoils, and for Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson, the victory celebrations were a moment to savour.
I feel very good to win this event. It's a special win for our car. I think it's a good thing for Corolla RSI. Never thought we would win a rally with the 1600, but I've won it with the 1600 about 10 years ago, so maybe there's another chance again. Thank you.
It was also celebration time for Eddie and Lawrence and Robert Paisley.
We had a bit of problems, but I suppose everybody has. Ours was just a little bit extensive. The pace was hot in front, and I managed to keep it together, although we were quite a few minutes behind. But I'm grateful. Second is nothing to smile at, you know? That's good. I'm happy.
Also in on the champagne act, Schalk Burger and Martin Botha.
It was great to finish this event, and that's what our intention was, to get to the end. And it ended quite well.
And more champagne for Cato and Stone before the bombshell of their exclusion.
Yesterday was a very difficult experience for us. It was a culture shock when we saw the roads over here. But, you know, we got used to them, and today we had a really, really good run. We had a fastest time. I think we came second in one, third in another. And, you know, we got to learn, you know, the way that your roads go, and we got to handle the car a bit better. But we've definitely enjoyed it, you know. We've enjoyed the South African hospitality. It's been very good.
An historic result for Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson, and a triumph for Toyota. FIA African Series honours went to Schalk Burger and Martin Botha, and there were marvellous performances from Hannes Grobler and Brian Duncan, and the Stefan van Dijk-Mark Pim combination. Highlights of the Total Rally of South Africa were proudly presented by Total.